see that my child has only half a chance, and he's growing right before my eyes.
He's quite a grown young man.
Yes, he's in high school now. But I worry so about him. Since the beginning, he's felt strange about school. He's never really felt at home there. If they had a few things, a few touches to make a youngster feel welcome and at home. My husband's plant is modern. It's well lighted, it's cheerful. And my kitchen, it's pleasant and efficient. I have a place for everything. Why can't our boy have at least some of the advantages in school that he has at home?
He should have. Your boy needs the security that is built by a happy school association. It's protection against unhappiness and dissatisfaction, two evils that ruin countless lives.
Welcome back to our special homeschool edition of Liberty Treehouse. We have... Wait, you're not a kid.
No, I haven't. I'm at about 4th grade reading level. So,
but your children are homeschooled.
Homeschooled.
So, yeah. What would you say is to the advantage of being homeschooled?
I don't know. They actually learn something.
Yeah.
You know,
more than what's now.
I think the yes. I think the problem that I saw with my first two that weren't homeschooled was I saw change in them. I mean, I walked in here, you know, shook hands, you know, it was like normal, where I can go into crowds and meet people, you know, at book signings or whatever, and I can tell which people homeschool and which kids are homeschooled, because they're just different. They're just more focused
And can I add, they're open. They are who they are. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to mention before, was that I don't think most of us homeschool because we're actively rejecting mainstream. I think we're trying to preserve our love of learning. We're trying to preserve how we think, the fact that we can think. I know with Ben, I mean, I want him to always be able to ask questions, to be curious, to think he has the power to speak. And to learn how and when to do that. And really, frankly, in school, when you're told when to speak, I think sometimes you can develop such resentment about that kind of suppression, that then you kind of go out there and you kind of spew. Whereas if you develop the idea that, you know what I have to say counts, oh, it's your turn to speak, okay, go ahead.
You know, you said, and it's funny because I remember before we homeschooled, I used to think like you did, and I can't imagine yada yada, but when you're a parent, I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, I like hanging out with my kids. I like being with my kids. I like learning with my kids. I mean, that's the way it should be.
So what's something that you can do, that you've done, since you've been homeschooled, that you don't think would have happened if you would have been in a normal school? Like, what have you, yes, Abigail?
Maybe not as many enrichment classes. Like, we do lots of co-ops and, like, field trips that we couldn't do if we were in school, like vacations on our schedule, special things with our parents.
Be able to like learn what we want and be able to learn so much about it and not have to like go by how much we need to learn of something and then stop and then like, oh, we'll pick up tomorrow. You can just keep learning and you can learn how you want, and as long as you learn it.
Yeah. But I can't see your name tag, but what did you want to say something?
Well, I've been learning like Latin, which really helps me with my learning because a lot of the scientific words are based on Latin. So I wouldn't be able to do that at all, really.
Do you know that I found out just recently that the Latin derivative of inspiration is spirare, which means to breathe, as in breathing in life, breathing in learning? That's awesome.
I feel like the dumbest person here. I don't know, you feel that way, Raj?
Yeah.
It's like, one of these things just doesn't belong, and it's me.
Yeah, I have a piece of paper that says I graduated from public school. Who else? Yes, Nathan. Wait for the, there we go.
Well, I consider myself politically educated. I like learning about politics and understanding this. Big fan of the show, by the way. And at one time, I was at the Capitol with a group of homeschoolers and lobbyists. I was interning there, and I wouldn't be able to do this anyway. But what was really cool is that in a committee meeting, they were discussing a piece of legislation that I did not agree with. It was relatively minor. It was about daylight savings, but I went up there and I spoke against it, and the bill did not leave that committee meeting.
How old are you, Nathan?
I'm 15. I was 13 then.
I bet most 15-year-olds in public school don't even know what daylight savings time means.
Yeah.
I do.
Tell me.
Daylight savings time.
What'd you say?
I studied on Benjamin Franklin, and I know what daylight savings time is.
Yeah.
It's to save an hour of work, so you can work harder.
Glenn, what were you about to say?
No, I was just, I was wondering, because you might know what daylight savings time is, but how many people knew that it was, you know, a farming idea to help, and these kids know, but how many others do? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting before, Glenn, that you said you noticed that your kids changed. There was a change.
Yeah,
Did they
I
change?
noticed they changed. They, you know, Woodrow Wilson said the point of college was to make a boy, the most unlike his father. And that's what I saw with my children. I saw that beginning disconnect from the family to society, and I don't like that.
So who would say homeschooling has brought you closer to your family?
That's a very good point.
Wow. Would anyone want to go back to public school?
No.
Why is that, Sarah? Why do you think it's brought you closer to your family, and why wouldn't you want to go back to public school?
Well, to homeschool really does bring you close to your family. It just to be with them and to learn with them, it makes a connection, and school just doesn't.
So what's the one thing that you wouldn't have been able to do if you were in school?
Be myself. Like
Wow.
in school, everyone's the same. Like you're pressured to be like everyone else, and if you don't look like them, if you don't act like them, you know, then you're the outcast.
GBTV. The truth lives here.